Before servicing this mower, always disengage or remove the batteries. The left cover assembly includes one storage box assembly, which is equipped with wires and a PCBA, and one charging port. Repairs may include replacement of the charging port or fuse, the switch box assembly, or the left cover assembly. Move the seat forward and remove the rear decorative cover, which is secured with 4 T20 Torx screws. Pull the fuse from the charging port and remove the fuse cover. Use a multimeter to check for an open circuit. Replace the fuse if needed. To make sure the mower can be charged normally, connect the charging port to charger CHV1600. If the mower won't charge, use a multimeter to test the charging port. Place one pin in the charging port cable and the other in the charging port. An open circuit means the charging port is damaged. With parking chocks on the front wheels, lift the back end of the mower and place jack stands under the chassis just in front of the rear cover. Remove the rear wheels, which are secured with 21 mm lug nuts. Remove the decorative cover on the front of the seat, which is secured with 4 T20 Torx screws. Now remove the left steering lever using a 13 mm socket wrench. On the right side of the mower, unplug the Type-C plug and the black plug adjacent to it. These wires link the right side cover to the left side cover. Then lift the wires away from the 4 wire traps on top of the battery management system. On the left side of the mower, unplug the black, yellow, and Type-C plugs. Remove the 4 T30 Torx screws on top of the left cover assembly. The one next to the lever is concealed by a label. There are also 2 screws beneath the fender. The rear guard assembly must be removed before the left side cover can be removed. Use a T30 bit to remove the 6 screws, 2 on each side and 2 on the back. To remove the hitch, use a 13 mm socket to remove the 2 hex bolts that secure the hitch to the frame. Slide the rear guard away from the battery box and disconnect the left cover cable connector. The rear guard assembly can now be removed, along with the left side cover. With the battery box cover lifted, the left side cover should lift up easily. Open the charging port cover and remove the 4 T15 Torx screws. Then turn the left cover assembly over and remove the lower housing, secured by 4 T20 Torx screws. This exposes the entire charging port assembly, which can now be removed. Remove the charging port switch from the charging port. Test the switch with a multimeter and replace it if necessary. When replacing the switch, align the wires on the side of the charging port assembly as shown. If the charging port cover is damaged, remove the 4 Phillips head screws that secure it and be sure to keep the torsion springs. During reassembly, insert the short end of the spring into the hole with the long end facing out. The long end will get trapped under the clamping plate when it's tightened. If the charging port is defective, replace the entire assembly, but reuse the switch. When mounting the charging port, pass the wires through the hole in the left cover assembly and through the guide pillar, and attach the charging port to the lower housing. The rear light wire harness is located under the fender section of the left cover assembly. To replace it, start by removing the rear light wire harness, held in place with 3 Phillips head screws. Next, remove the charging port, secured with 4 T20 Torx screws. Then release the black plug that connects to the storage box assembly. Replace the wire harness and reassemble in reverse order. The storage box can be accessed with the left cover assembly in place. Remove the 3 T20 Torx screws, then disconnect the plugs. Move the storage box toward the seat to remove it. Now turn the switch box over and remove the 9 T20 Torx screws. Open the switch box assembly and release the black plug. If the left side light PCBA is damaged, remove the 2 T20 Torx screws and separate the side light assembly from the cover assembly. The PCBA snaps into this assembly, which in turn snaps into the lens. If the USB PCBA needs to be replaced, release the 3 white plugs and remove the 2 Phillips head screws. Then unplug the 2 Type-C plugs. Remember to apply a small amount of dielectric waterproof grease to the Type-C plugs during reassembly. There's an additional, smaller USB PCBA which is part of the switch box assembly. It is secured with 1 Phillips head screw and connected with a single white plug. Once the PCBAs are in place, check to make sure the wires are routed properly before reinstalling the switch box. Connect the black plug, then tighten the 9 T20 Torx screws. When mounting the switch box assembly onto the mower, push it away from the seat. Then tighten the 3 T20 Torx screws. Please refer to the EGO service diagram and parts list for specific parts needed for these repairs. Always use genuine EGO parts.